Welcome to Lazydays. Today we're going to take a close look at the American Eagle, and later on we're going to take a look at its wonderful chassis. We're going to start with the outside here. A couple features that I think everybody really likes about American is, if you take a look here, we have these inverted mirrors, which is nice for the customer so you don't hit your head when you're walking around the coach. Also, if you notice, your windshield wipers are hung from the top. We all know that gravity takes effect with the water coming down, swishing the water away from your line of vision. In the front here, obviously the generator is up front. We have an electronic control that slides the generator out. So you have easy access to the generator, being that it's a 12.5 kW. We have a side service, so it's easy to get to the serviceability of the coach. As far as the beauty of the coach, you can tell by the flush mounted automotive style windshield. There is a steel frame underneath that, as well as aircraft aluminum throughout the rest of the structure of the coach. As we walk down the side, we're going to take a few look at the bay areas here. All of our bay areas are lined with what we call Citadel. Citadel is a PVC based material, and if you can take a look in here, we have the floor is completely covered and the sidewalls, and siliconed in. That becomes mildew resistant, water resistant, and of course easy to clean up any spills, chemicals, or what have you. As you see, we have electronically driven slide trays, and of course our mud flap right here as well. These are nice because of the fact that you don't have to actually lean forward to get to them. Plenty of storage over here. We also have the Dirt Devil central vacuum system. And this is our battery bay. There are not many manufacturers that have a battery bay that is that well constructed. Over here is our electronic bay. You've got your pure sine wave inverter. All of our ECUs, being that this is an all-electric coach, of course we're working off of multiplex. Also, anything that operates off of multiplex also can be operated from your iPad or iPhone, which makes it very convenient from inside the coach or outside the coach. As we walk around towards the back here, we have the engine running. You can see that we had side service here. Side service is pretty simple, easy to get to. We can cut off our batteries from here, totally shut down the coach without battery drain. From the rear, we have an electronically raised gate for the engine service to make it easy to get to. One of the features that is really super special about the American Eagle is its optional escape hatch. That door can be opened from the inside in the event of a fire, a wreck, or anything of that. God forbid that ever happens, but you do have it. Side radiator, and as we take on down the rest of the side of the coach here, your wet bay. Very well organized wet bay. Everything is kind of where you need it. You can get to all your water pump from here. Check your black and your gray tanks, change your water filters. Everything is just very well appointed in this Eagle. Over here is your 600D AquaHot system. This is not a standard AquaHot, which you would normally see in many coaches, which are the 450D. Some are LP, some are diesel. This happens to be the 600, which covers more zones and has a lot more heating BTUs than the standard 450 system. And then back over here, we're back to the opposite side of the bays. Both bays here. And over here is our generator service door, or everything concerning the cab of the coach is right here. And also our electric generator opening. So the front cap is being slid out by the electronics. By the way, your headlights on this are all LEDs, very, very high looms. Now you can see how easily accessible the generator is. At the same time, if you decide that you want to get up on top of the generator to clean your windshield, that just makes it that much easier to get to. So for that, what we'd like to do now is I'd like to take you folks on a little trip over to the Freightliner chassis. Not many people have had the opportunity to see a Freightliner chassis, so come along, let's go take a look. Hey folks, welcome back. We appreciate you coming back to see the Freightliner chassis. This is the greatest piece of the American coach. This is actually what we call the Liberty Chassis. The coach is brought in from Freightliner. It is sectioned right here behind the front wheel and right in front of the back wheel, and that's when they drop in the Liberty bridge. The reason they do this is to give this coach 9 times more rigidity strength than any other chassis in the industry. This is, and everybody knows it, this is the strongest chassis manufactured underneath the fiberglass coach. What we have here, the Freightliner independent front suspension, this independent front suspension gives us 60 degrees of wheel cut left and right. So if you're in a 45-foot coach, you can certainly understand how valuable that turning radius is on this. It cuts down the circumference tremendously. Something else that adds to the circumference of that is back here. This is called the Ultra Steer by Freightliner. This is the Ultra Steer that comes on the American Eagle chassis. Because the front end has 60 degrees of wheel cut, that leaves this back tire, when we're making a sharp turn, at slip rating at about 12 degrees if it doesn't turn. What this Ultra Steer does is it gives us 12 degrees of leeway, so when we're going down the road making a sharp turn, that 60 degrees of wheel cut, now this tag is laying over at 12 degrees, so we're not scrubbing the tire. We also can increase the size of the, decrease the size of that circle by 17% because we're not dragging this tire, which causes resistance on the front to make a sharper turn. Along with this I-Series, this also has independent suspension and is disc brakes instead of drum. This is the ultimate in Ultra Steer. So as we move on down here, I wanted to show you something else that they do with American that makes this coach just amazingly strong. We all know that the chassis, being the Liberty, is an extremely strong chassis, but it's also the house structure that makes this strong. This is what they call their extruded aluminum. This goes onto the chassis of the coach, and then your wall is vacuum bonded onto these pieces of aluminum. And what these pieces of aluminum do is they create a structure, as you can see here. These are interlocking. They are screwed about every 10 inches. And this piece is vacuum bonded into the wall as well. And then on your roof, which is about a 5-inch thick roof, that is also vacuum bonded, and this all fits together. So what we're doing is we're creating a structure the full length of the chassis that makes your wall connected to the chassis through extruded aluminum. The strength is just unbelievable. Same thing on the roof line. And what this really means to the customer is very simple. The house doesn't move this way because of this aluminum structure. So we also have to take a look at something else that they do, is this vacuum bonded wall. This is T60 fiberglass. It's a very straight fiberglass. I don't know if you can see reflection, but it's very, very straight. So the substrate on the side of an American coach is very slick. So this side of the fiberglass is the side that gets painted. And on the inside, of course, we have our Luan boarding, but that is about 2 inches of styrofoam. We all know how a coffee cup being 1/8 of an inch thick, how well the insulation is. This is amazing. So we have one-piece structure fiberglass on the side of the coach, whether it's the slide or the cab or what have you. Molded front cap, molded rear cap, and a one-piece molded fiberglass roof on the American coach. Now, you heard me mention earlier about the basements. The basements are all lined with what we call Citadel. Citadel is a PVC-based little fiberglass in there. It's insulated. You can see the pockets there. It's just like a cardboard box. But what this does, this is super strong. It creates a little bit of barrier for your insulation, but they line the whole floor with this. It's mold resistant, mildew resistant, chemical resistant, and of course water resistant. You can hose out your bay door or bay area if you need to. That's up to you. If you spilled something nasty, I'm sure you'll want to clean that up. Let's move on back to the back and see the heart and the soul of this coach. So back here, everybody always talks about power. We know that the Cummins is kind of the benchmark for power in big diesel coaches. This is a 45-foot chassis that sits underneath the American Eagle. And as I mentioned, this is called the Liberty Chassis. This engine is the Cummins 600 ISX 15-liter. She produces about 1,950 foot-pounds of torque. and this is hooked up to an Allison 4000 transmission. This coach has a 15,000 pound tow capability on the hitch itself. This coach right here going down the road is extremely solid, and that's what this chassis provides. Is a foundation of a house has got to be solid for the house not to creak or crack. The same thing with this Liberty chassis. This is the strongest chassis in the industry, and your house will be still and squeak proof and will go down the road without making body noises. So I think that covers just about everything on this chassis by Liberty underneath the American Eagle. You heard me mention about the marriage between the Liberty chassis and the Freightliner chassis. You can see right here, this is all Freightliner base frame rails. These backbones here are Liberty's backbones. If you notice, they are not welding any pieces in here. They're simply bolted together. Now, when we marry the Liberty to the Freightliner chassis, they use a process called huck bolting. These huck bolts right here, if you take a close look, they're what we call a compression fit bolt. It's an aeronautically used bolt, and what they do is they compress at about 23,000 PSI. And what we're doing is we're creating a marriage here that cannot be taken apart. It's not a screw-on type bolt like you're thinking. It is a compression fit. The only way to get those off is with a torch or with a grinding wheel. But that connection between the Freightliner chassis and this Liberty with the backbones on top, we start adding our X-bracing steel underneath here, and in the center of the coach is the fuel tank. Now, if you think about it, most people have their fuel tank up front. Right here we have our fuel filler. So our fuel filler's on the side of the coach, either side. Most people put that fuel filler right behind the front tire. If you have a coach now, think about where your fuel tank is. It's kind of in a dangerous spot. American uses a little bit more engineering thought process. They put the tank in the center of the coach, distribute the weight a little bit for better balance, and obviously doing away with the possibility of, let's just say you have something kick up from the road on a standard coach that has the filler neck behind the front tire. Now you've got an issue with the filler neck possibly being damaged, losing fuel, what have you. So the safety feature of them putting this in here is valuable as you can imagine. But the overall chassis design of this is just incredible. And this is the Liberty chassis. Welcome to the American Eagle. As you all know, for 25 years, American has been building high-end luxury coaches. I would like to be able to take some time to show you around. This new innovative dash that the Eagle now possesses is 100% digital, surrounded by two 10-inch monitors. As you can see as a driver, that's well lit up. We also have a French stitched leather dash. Beautiful accents to the dash. Moving towards the seats here, these are heated, they are air cooled, and they are massage chairs. So for the comfort of the driver, we also have our electronic steering buttons here. I can raise and lower my steering wheel telescopic or take it in and out, which is a nice feature to have. We also have a driver's side window, electric window, so if you need to get to a toll, you can do that without having to hit a slide. All you have to do is hit the button right here. As we move into the interior here, I want you to look towards the back and notice how spa-like this is. This is the most contemporary interior in the industry. All of our corners, if you notice, these are all radius corners here. Looking at this is something you would expect to see in a yacht possibly, or a very, very high-end home. Everything in here, all of our drawers, our cabinets, everything is what we call soft touch. So we don't have that slamming of a sound here. Everything is just let it go by itself and walk away, and it makes a nice little click on its own. Everything in here is so well appointed, down to the porcelain tile here. If you look at the flooring, it's just beautiful, everything that they have done. The furniture is TLS, which is extremely, extremely comfortable furniture. They use this in a lot of yachts out there. If you walk through the rest of the coach, you can see that we have a lot of accenting of the wood in various tones here. We'll have a darker tone on the edges of our woodwork and the lighter tones on the center. And if you notice, we have the electronic tips here, which is always nice to have. You get your plug-in for your your cell phone or coffee pot or anything that you need. As we move to the back here, of course, we're going to have a residential refrigerator. In the galley, we also have a dishwasher, which is very well hidden and looks very beautiful. And along with that, the big country-style sink. Look at the size of this. Stainless steel. Who wouldn't like that? I'd like to have that in my home. Just a beautiful setup. If you notice behind, so when whoever is in the kitchen, look at the size of this window. This is something else in the industry that you just don't see very often at all. When the windows are, the shades are all up, this has just a huge amount of window space. So you don't get that cave-like feeling when you're inside of an American coach. So up front, very spa feel. I can tell you, you're looking at it saying, that really is truly beautiful, and it really is, I have to say. Moving back to the back here, we have our we'll just call this the control panel of the whole coach. I can touch everything on here, and we can do anything that we need to on the coach. You can see I won't go through all the buttons, but you can see whatever I want to touch. Now this also can be controlled by your iPad or iPhone. There's an app you get, and you can just do all that control from your phone, which is a marvelous thing. We also have, of course, washer dryer in here, stackable washer dryer. All American coaches since 2007 have been a full wall slide. If you notice when you walked in how roomy this was, the reason why is because this 33-foot slide, when that opens up, you can notice how cavernous the inside of the coach looks. When you have a 3-wall slide system like American Coach uses, we have the most square footage that can possibly be bought into a coach. If we also move towards the stateroom here, you'll notice we have the 2 electronic beds, which you can raise or lower. Whoever wants to sit up and watch a little TV, which is nice, very comfortable, memory foam, the state-of-the-art, pretty much everything. And if we look in here into our bathroom, this is probably the biggest shower you're ever going to see in a motorhome. We have split stone here on the floor. We have a seat that is all teak wood and a teak wood floor, and you can see how beautiful this is. And of course the Rainmaker shower head and hand control. The shower is appointed like what you would expect at a high-end hotel or a high-end home or anything, especially on an Eagle. And of course the signature, of course, the cedar lined closet. And from the inside, you notice when we were outside, we were looking at the emergency exit. Well, this is it from the inside. It's pretty cleverly disguised with just shelving, throw your towels on or what have you, but this is the lever for the escape hatch. Don't pull that by accident. It might scare you. But anyway, this is a marvelous feature to have, and it's an option on the American Eagle. So let's move towards the front here. A couple other little things we'll touch on if you're looking from the back of the coach to the front of the coach. We have your soft touch ceiling, which majority of your RVs are going to be a soft touch. What that does is just takes away a little bit of sound deadening from rain or noises outside. But the inside of the coach, you can see is very contemporary. Unlike many manufacturers out there, they're kind of all the standard. This is very, very different. I hope you've enjoyed visiting with the American Eagle and also looking at the Liberty Chassis, which I'm sure that's the first time most of you have ever seen one. But if you have any questions, please get in touch with Lazydays. Thank you.